the Holy Ghost, the Holy Trinity. They're seen as a very religious tree and a piece of Catalan national identity. You will see the leaves and the flowers of this tree on every single modernist building throughout the whole city. They even scroll up the front of the cathedral of the city as well. Now the cemetery part, that's a little bit harder to explain. Take all the way back to 1701. 1701 is the start of the Spanish War of Succession. This is where the last Habsburg king of Spain dies without an heir. Now if you remember in your family tree looks like a great big triangle. Grandparents, your parents, you, if you're lucky enough, your children, grandchildren at the bottom, big triangle. The Habsburg family tree, it doesn't look like that. It goes the other way. This is called inbreeding. Don't try that at home. Seriously, it's the only place you could, but no. So the last Habsburg king born one-eyed, bit of a hump, dodgy leg. He wasn't meant to have kids. So when he dies without an heir, his crown gets offered to France. Now this terrifies the rest of Europe, because nobody wants to see France and Spain united as one country. So England and Holland, they decide to back Austria's claim to the Spanish throne. Now this means Catalonia's got a bit of a choice to make. It can either side with Spain and France, its neighbours, that'd be nice, or it can back England, Holland and Austria, who've all got great big empires, get its revenge on Spain and France for the previous war. Sounds delightful. So that's what they do. Doesn't work out too well. You see, England just don't want to see Spain and France united. So we get them sign this contract saying it's never going to happen, and in return, England gets to keep Gibraltar. Yeah, they haven't forgiven us for that either. Austria go home, they relinquish the claim to the throne. Holland goes home. France goes home. Catalonia, well, Catalonia goes nowhere, it's here, and this time it's surrounded by the whole Spanish army. After a 13-year siege of Barcelona, the city falls. The date is September the 11th, 1714. September the 11th. Well, 1714, more importantly, is the date when the Catalans believe they kind of had to give up hope of independence. Bow down to Madrid as the capital city. It's so ingrained in their psyche that when Barcelona Football Club play their home games and the time on the clock is 17 minutes, 14 seconds, half the crowd jump up and shout Libertad or independence. On Catalan National Day, September 11th, 1.2 to 1.5 million Catalans, and remembering the population of Barcelona is 1.7, will parade past here, paying their respect to the eternal flame and in honour of the mass grave of over 35,000 fallen Catalan soldiers buried beneath our feet. They'll continue that parade until they get to the end of this road, Parc Ciutadella. You see, Parc Ciutadella wasn't always a park, it was a citadel, a fortress. When Madrid took over, they didn't go, "You've been naughty, naughty Catalans, don't do it again." They said, "Look guys, twice in 50 years you've rebelled against us. You seriously need to learn a lesson." So they decided to build Europe's largest ever fortress in the shape of a 5-pointed star containing 8,000 Castilian soldiers, 13 long cannons pointing directly at the Gothic quarter. And you guys so much as sneeze, you're all dead. Let's have a think about that. This fortress was twice the size of the Gothic quarter. It's the only fortress in European history where the cannons are not pointing out to sea, but are pointing at their own people. And they built it over here, on top of the factories, the infrastructure, the poorhouses and the farmland. So they had no young men to build it with, no factories, no industry left. Oh, bubbles great. Do you know what? I've never seen anybody angry blowing a bubble. It's impossible. In Newcastle, in England, Newcastle is really famous for bars and nightclubs and fighting. And so they got fed up of fights outside nightclubs. So whenever you leave a Newcastle in England, they give you a little pot of bubbles. And the violent crime rate's gone down by 40%. Because you can't punch anybody when you're blowing a bubble. It's impossible. I hate you. Right. Sorry, back to the 1714. So, build this massive fortress. It plunges Catalonia into decades and decades of despair, almost 100 years. Nothing gets better in this city until 1850. In 1850, though, they start preparations for the Universal Expedition to Barcelona, 1888! So glad you're here. First thing they do is knock down the fortress. They turn it into the beautiful Parc Ciutadella, which we all know and love right now. I mean, seriously, you have to go and see this park. It's spectacular. There's only 2 buildings that remain from the original park. From the original fortress. The first one is the chapel in the centre of the park. The other one is the old ammunitions building that runs down the back of the park. which is now the Catalan parliament. Yeah, that's ironic, isn't it? The fortress that used to condemn them is now their parliament for maybe independence. 1888 goes so well it triples the population of Barcelona. Barcelona becomes the largest seaport in the Mediterranean. The modernism period starts. Flower, nature, dragons, Gaudi, Montaner, Puig, amazing buildings all over this city. And then all of a sudden, Spain starts losing control of its colonies in South America. And like every empire before it and every empire after it, it decides to replace the loss of revenue by going to war. And he goes to war against Morocco. And it's a bad, bad choice. They are ill-equipped, ill-prepared to fight this war. And it enrages the people of Spain. Because only the poor people are dying in the war. The rich, they can pay money, dodge the draft. They don't have to go. Also, the people of Spain see the church and the state align and become the same thing. So they rebel against the church. They burn down over 2,000 churches throughout the whole of Spain. Systematically execute over 2,000 clergymen. The Bloody Week. Closely followed by the Second Spanish Civil War. Franco's reign of fascism starts. Nothing gets better in Barcelona, who in fact bear a lot of his revenge for their resistance movement. Nothing gets better until Franco dies. So when did Franco die? Okay, if you look in the history books, okay, back in school, open the history books, 20th of October 1975. But historians are looking into this now, because he may have died in 74. Well, I mean, there wasn't a lot of TV, there wasn't a lot of radio. They thought announcing his death may have brought about another revolution. So they may have kept him on ice for a year. Yeah. Could have got away with it as well. 2 years later, 77, we see a democratically elected government in Spain. The Constitution of Spain is written. And for the first time ever, the Catalans go, okay, let's see if we can make Spain work. And in return, they're allowed to be called a nationality. Which means if I ask you, what are you? You can say, I'm Catalan. If I ask you where you're from, you say from Spain. Who would have then thought just a handful of years later the best Olympic Games I've ever seen takes place in this city? 1992 Barcelona Olympics. I mean, Freddie Mercury did the opening ceremony. It doesn't get any better than that, really. It's also the first Olympics I saw on a colour TV. God damn, I'm old. So the success of these Olympics shepherded a new generation of independistas, young people crying out for independence. And Madrid answered the call again. They go, right, you can now be called a nation. Which means if I ask you, what are you, you can say I'm Catalan. If I ask you where you're from, you can say I'm from Catalonia, which is part of Spain. You see, it's a title, but it doesn't mean a hell of a lot. Under the Constitution of Spain, it only recognises one nation, the nation of Spain. Not Spain and Catalonia. But don't get me wrong, Catalonia has its own national football team, and it's awesome. It's the whole Barcelona squad. But they're not allowed to compete in the Football World Cup, because FIFA, the governing body of football, don't recognise them as a nation. They haven't paid them enough money. Hey. Roll time forward, the 1st of January, the year 2000, Millennium Day. I arrive in Barcelona. Yeah. In fairness, it probably wasn't a turning point in their history, but it was very important to me, because I went from being a poor student to being a millionaire. That's right, a millionaire. My life savings, £4,500, translated over 1 million pesetas. Hey, I don't care what the currency is. When you open your bank, you can see over $1 million ear to ear, baby. So, and actually, the pesetas was amazing. 210 pesetas was a packet of cigarettes. It's like 30 cents, 35 cents. Pint of Guinness, 1,195 pesetas. Just over €1. See our prices things now, yeah? 2001 arrived, everyone broke down in tears. But so did the euro. And the price of everything went through the roof. But the wages didn't. Barcelona is now the most expensive city in Spain to live in. Now I know you guys have all come from all over the world, different places, and you all arrived here and went, oh, Barcelona's quite cheap. Not if you live here. Give you an idea. That apartment at the top, you can just about make out the roof of it. There's a one-bedroom apartment up there, it's just been sold. 1.8 million. One-bedroom apartment. Bought by a Russian investor, it's now being rented out as Airbnb. He'll probably make his money back over the next 30 years. But what that means is that the real people of this city can't live in the centre of the city. They get pushed further and further out each year. Now I know that happens in a lot of other cities around the world, but I don't live in a lot of other cities around the world, and I can't afford to live here. 3 years ago, we had talk of a referendum. Under the Constitution of Spain, regional referendums are technically illegal. but with the help of 40,000 Catalan volunteers, they held an unofficial referendum. As by a small majority, they voted in favour of independence. But if you wanted to vote against independence, you just didn't bother voting. Why waste 2 hours of your day on something that's unofficial? So my friends turn around to me and say, Scotland got a referendum, why can't we? Right, big point. Scotland is a country, and it has been a country for many hundreds of years. Its referendum was to stay part of or break away from a union of other countries. As it stands right now, Catalonia is a region of Spain. It doesn't have the same legal rights as a country. And until those legal rights change, it will remain a region of Spain. But almost 2 years ago now, we see local elections take place in Catalonia. The independence parties win by a huge majority. They believe that with that huge majority, they can push forward a legal referendum within the next 12 months. Now the Spanish government and their lawyers go, that's rubbish, because under the Constitution of Spain, it's illegal. So they say, forget Spain, let's see what the European Union says. And this is where it gets dangerous for everybody. If the European Union allows Catalonia to have a legal referendum, it sets forward a legal precedent to allow 36 other regions in Europe to hold their own referendum, including Brittany in northern France, Bavaria in Germany, pretty much the whole of Belgium. Seriously, there's one guy in the middle of Belgium going, I'm Belgium, the rest has gone all over the bloody place. I don't know what's going on. That could be the breakdown of Europe. If Europe breaks down, that means no equal trading partner to North America. If that goes, their economy drops to the floor, which means that manufacturing in Asia drops to the floor, which means in Australia, they'll be fine because they're an island in the middle of nowhere. But everyone else is screwed. Australia's looking like a really cool place to live right now, it really is. Guys, watch this space. What seems trivial to a lot of people can have ramifications that can affect everybody in the world. Now, a lot of people always ask me, well, what's your opinion, Andy? As a representative of Sandeman's, I'm actually not allowed to give you my real opinion. I have to tread a very narrow path down the middle. But that would be wrong after living here for 16 years. So my real opinion is, I'm actually straight down the middle anyway. I can actually see a benefit of an independent Catalonia. Number one, Barcelona and Catalonia provide Spain with 20% of its GDP, but it only receives 10% of the national investment. That needs to be addressed. It really does. But on the other side, I've been paying a Spanish pension for 16 years. If Catalonia gets independence, what the hell happens to my pension? Transferred, stopped, whatever happens, there'll be penalties. And as it is, it looks like I'm going to retire at 85. So that can really screw things up, doesn't it? Guys, watch this space, because what's happening here really can affect people. Now guys, that was a very long monologue. It didn't have a happy ending. And quite frankly, you're all looking a bit sad. I'm really sorry about that. It's my job to cheer you all up a bit now, so we're going to go to the Street of the Ladies. And on the way around to the Street of the Ladies, I want you to think about what these ladies used to get up to. And guys, don't think too hard about that.
Hi Andy.
Hello.
Sorry, I just captured your video. Is that okay if I upload in YouTube?
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Do you want to give your little bit information so people can catch you?
Oh, okay. My name's Andy Pitts. I am a great tour guide in Barcelona, and please join Sandeman's New Europe in 22 different countries.
Okay, thank you.